Namaste and welcome to another episode of Reflecting with AINA. This month, in the honor of Women in Medicine, we are speaking to the amazing Indian neurologist, women neurologists who are leading in the field of neurology in their own unique ways. Today, I get the privilege of speaking with Dr. Vineeta Singh, who is a professor of neurology at the University of California, San Francisco. She's also leading the vascular neurology and the critical care clinical program at the Weill Institute of Neurosciences and San Francisco General Hospital. She is leading in many research projects. You have many NIH-funded studies and have published many impactful papers. You also served as the program director for the Neurocritical Care Fellowship Program at the University of California, San Francisco. So not only I think you're a leader in education, you're a leader in research and critical care, but I don't think many know, but you're also a pioneer as being our first woman president of the AINA organization. And you continue to serve as an inspiration and a mentor to many of the young neurologists and continuing to encourage them to excel in their careers. So I thank you very much for joining in and taking the time from your very busy day. So everybody, welcome Dr. Vineeta Singh.
Gitanjali, that was a lovely introduction and you summed it up. It's been a great journey, and I will tell you my journey from India to US, which was actually pretty dramatic. A week after taking my internal medicine board, I packed my Harrison textbook of medicine and my infant and reunited with my husband in the US. I had just finished medicine residency, so I made an excellent intern. Think about PGY 3 year, I was unanimously voted to be the chief resident, which was out of turn. Not because I had all the answers, but because I was organized. I knew who to approach and how to get things done, and had the courage and the will to support my co-residents. I think that was the key. When I look back, that was also my stepping stone in the world of neurology.
That's an amazing journey. Do you feel like through this kind of transition and excelling, even like coming to a new medical system, being a woman, do you feel like it had many advantages for you, or do you feel like certain drawbacks? Like where would you, or how would you see it in a vision of a woman physician?
That's a fantastic question. And I do not want to take away the challenges, the barriers that many face and faced actually when I was a resident. I would consider my case a bit unique in the sense that I had just finished a medicine residency, and changes are difficult, they're hard. However, they can also be, that period can be reinvigorating. And like I said, I felt like I was not only representing myself, I was representing a lot of other women candidates, and I was representing my birth country at the time. Not sure I thought of that way when I was in that position, but when I look back, I think definitely that re-energized me in my role, despite of the challenges that anyone who is starting in a new country, new program, new culture. Culture shock, I must say, was the biggest for me. And it's possible that that was also a bit distracting. Anytime I felt slighted or, didn't get the joke or didn't get the memo. I felt like maybe that's just the cultural difference. So I wrote it off that way. Yeah, so I would say being a woman at the time when I was training and I was made the chief resident, I also had the opportunity to finish residency and get into a fellowship program. And that's because there were two major breakthroughs in neurology that happened while I was a resident. Surgery could now prevent stroke in those with severe carotid stenosis, and intravenous TPA administered within 3 hours of symptom onset improved outcomes in stroke patients. This was big. So now we had two solid management options, and stroke could be prevented and treated. It was very exciting. So I needed additional training, not simply to screen those patients for potential treatment, but also not to feel helpless if things did not go well. And like I told you, I had medicine training, and now I was a board certified neurologist. I still lacked critical care training. So I joined Neurocritical Care Fellowship program at UCSF, and somehow it was a perfect match. I was looking for a clinically rigorous program to train, and UCSF program had just received philanthropic money to train the next leaders in neurocritical care. And the money had come from a stroke survivor. That a stroke survivor had put a wager on me, a trainee, was the greatest motivator.
Wow. That's a great accomplishment. And it shows kind of the trust, even as just graduating resident, that patient had in you. And, you know, I think I really like that attitude throughout. As you're talking, you'd say, well, you're the ones who's, as they're being given lemons, you're making lemonade. You're not kind of thinking, oh gosh, what do I do? You're like, oh, what can I do from this? So I think that might be, I was going to ask you, but I'm just going to volunteer and say, I think that might be your biggest strength and virtue that's maybe helped you advance so far. If I'm wrong, you could correct me, but.
It's a little bit of this and that. I think I'm quite collaborative, organized, and communicative. Of course, you know, we all get specialized training in the field of our interest, but those things definitely set me apart.
You definitely, yeah, set yourself apart. I know you mentioned briefly that when you came with your baby Anna Harrison's to join your husband. So can you tell me a little bit about the support system you had and how did you build a support system? You know, I think a lot of, and we talked about this a little bit with Dr. Salaja, where in India you have this huge support system and then you kind of uproot yourself, come here, usually with kids or have kids during your career and struggle finding that support system. Any great tips that you could give the younger generation?
Absolutely. It takes a village to raise a kid, raise a family. It was no different in my case. The support system has varied, you know, through the different stages of my career. Both my mother-in-law and my mother took turns staying with us during the birth of our younger two children who were born during residency. But we have been mostly dependent on family daycares in the neighborhood. I'm also married to an engineer, and we share household responsibilities equally, utilizing each other's strengths and weaknesses, a lot of negotiation, but we do have very clear division of labor, no duplication, aiming for progress, not for perfection. And future plans were always made jointly with a lot of negotiations and risk-taking. Like many other immigrants, we were charting a new territory with challenges, of dual careers, young family, and newfound success and opportunities. The message I would have for younger generation is appreciate like you mean it. When you get that help, the support system, whether it is from your spouse, your family members, your babysitter, you as mother, appreciate it. I'm still connected to our babysitter from 2 decades ago. Nurture and cherish that relationship, just like any other. That is a two-way street, and it was quite rewarding to hear from from people who were looking after my babies while I was at work. So that's one. Never consider yourself alone. Always consider approaching it as a team event. Your goal is more than a solo victory. And you strive harder, and it's more fun that way.
That is true. When you're kind of at the other end of it and kids are grown up, I guess it gives you a sense of achievement, a different kind of achievement, that you were able to do that and still build your career. And then you maybe appreciate the little things that were done. And sometimes you're right, in your daily routine, you kind of forget to appreciate, especially supportive spouses or family or friends, neighbors. And that's a great pearl to make sure you remind them that they're appreciated.
Yeah, as professionals, we are all great at, in a work setting, being appreciative to your colleagues, to staff. Sometimes that standard gets slightly lowered because you are in your comfort zone, you are home, you are in your family. That's all great, but it's just, it takes a little bit, but goes a long way to be appreciative.
It sounds like you were doing the great collaboration at home too, kind of collaborating with your husband and negotiating the duties, and made it a success. So you're using those skills. Do you think there were, during those negotiations, not at home, but even at career or just in general in life, were there certain negotiations that you felt that if you look backwards now that you might have chose differently, or if you were maybe in a different stage of life, or you were not a mother caring for also a family, you might have made different decisions? No.
I don't look back as far as decisions made in the time, in real time. Mm-hmm. I'm not a long-term decision maker. I make decisions for next 3 to 5 years, and that's about it.
You're
not
a caretaker.
That is correct. So given the circumstances that I was in, the resources available to me, and the outcome I was hoping for, I think those were the right decisions. Were there challenges? Absolutely. But I do not dwell in would have, could have, should have.
That's a great advice. Don't dwell on the past. Look forward to the future. Right. Wonderful. I know you're doing kind of projects in different arenas of the medicine, but any of those projects that you feel you led or educated people that you kind of remember more fondly or feel like a real sense of accomplishment?
I have to say that my most cherished accomplishment is mentoring, and mentoring both informally as well as formally. Mentoring is not a title. Mentoring is not a role. It's just you. It's a passion, and I can fondly look back to the time when I was a resident, when I inspired some to apply in neurology residency. As the first woman critical care fellow at UCSF, I made it possible for others to consider applying into neurocritical care fellowships. That to me is quite rewarding, and it continues to be. It has been, now I'm actually part of a faculty mentoring committee. We have a large number of junior faculty that join each year, and I am quite heavily involved in the process of selecting, standardization, how are we going to gauge success, but also direct mentoring. So I do believe in being closer to executing while leading a project. I don't abandon the former for latter.
Yeah, so
mentoring and sponsoring is quite close to my heart, and I continue to enjoy that role among trainees and now junior faculty.
So truly pioneering and mentoring with examples. So, and I'm sure there are a lot of us here that you have mentored informally or even sponsored informally. So I'm sure we're all very appreciative of that. So I know you're just being with the critical care and doing so many other programs, you're extremely busy. But outside of work, are there certain things that you enjoy, or kind of hobbies or interests, something that kind of keeps you rejuvenated?
Yes, one of my personality traits that others comment on, and I am quite aware of, is I can compartmentalize. I can switch from a warrior mode when things are super chaotic to go to slow, fun activity just to recharge. And those activities are gardening, long distance running, hiking with friends, family, and just spending time with loved ones, neighbors. That keeps me quite busy on the home front.
I think that's a rare quality, to be able to cut off from work and completely, so kind of being there. When you're there, be present. So I think that's something a lot of us struggle with and hopefully achieve. Do you do just kind of flower gardening, or do you have a lot of space? Are you able to do some kind of a vegetable gardening too?
So I'm a vegetarian. And I grow almost all vegetables that I cook.
Wow.
So we have about a quarter acre. We are very lucky to be in the sunny part of California. California is sunny, but I live in a house that has a very large veggie garden, and that's my little baby.
Very healthy. Fully organic.
And when you run, you have to eat a lot. So I enjoy the slow pace of gardening, nurturing the plants, watching them grow, fruit, flower. And I also enjoy the slow, long distance running. I derive pleasure. I also draw upon, when I am in a difficult situation in my intensive care unit surrounding, I derive on those moments of perseverance and resilience. So it is truly a great hobby. I got to long distance running actually at age 35, not before that. And my running partner is my husband. So when you are running, you can't talk a whole lot.
I don't know if that was the plan or the idea. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, this has just been a pleasure, and we could probably talk on, but I know you have a busy day. So I just want to thank you for sharing the messages of be present, don't dwell on the past, and eat healthy and stay healthy. And I'm sure you'll be getting a lot of people reaching out for mentorship. So thank you so much for being available for everyone and taking the time today. Have a great
Thank you very much. This was very well done. Great questions. And look forward to seeing you at the next AAN meeting.
We'll see you there.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.